everybody kind of has a lot of the same problems. And
Right.
then,
You
the
don't
good
sound like
thing,
a broken record.
right. So it's just like, okay, hey, Johnny, 1+1 is 2. Cindy,
Yes.
1+1. No, we're not doing that. And
No,
then
that's what yeah.
the other thing is I have a really, really good team,
Yeah.
of specialists that really help out. So if you're having issues with, oh, I don't like how I look on camera. Well, I've got a guy who runs my TV network, who has done all types of photography and cinematography. So he knows how to get your shots the right way. I got one person who was organized, because I'm about to organize as a wet dream with absolutely no payoff. But she'll come in and she'll say, okay, Tamra, we're doing month 1, we're all about this, and the month 2, we're doing that. And oh yeah, by the way, I know Dave told you this and this and this, but you do also consider doing this, that. And you're sitting there and you start to develop, a mild case of carpal tunnel, because you're taking all these copious notes as fast as you can. I've got somebody who's just focused on graphic design. So I wanted to make sure that it goes beyond just coaching, because what happens is you'll coach and you'll give people ideas, and then they'll run off to somebody on Fiverr.
Yeah,
and then
totally get screwed, and then they can't get it done. I totally agree. We did an agency element for a while. Specific, it was about 3 years,
yeah,
and it eventually, and I'm sure your brand probably has an element of this too, especially with all of the books and speaking that you do, is that there wasn't enough capacity for the team to also just focus on our brand. And
right.
so our brand took the back seat while all these other clients got all of their attention. And so we just, as of 2023, took on no more agency work, no more one-on-one clients. And it's been so freeing.
No,
Freeing.
you have to, like Moses, draw a line in the sand.
Yes.
Sometimes,
Yes.
it gets to a point where you just look at it and say, okay, am I able to serve people in a way that is going to be not only impactful, but still allow me to exist and grow and scale this thing in a way that is pleasing to what the Lord's mission is for me.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you have to be okay with separating yourself from some things. You can't be all things to all people, but I wanted to make sure that we were able to do enough quality control where it makes sense. And then the good news is I've gotten to a point where in every aspect of my business, except for 2, I was completely able to fire myself.
Oh, that's where it's at right there.
Yeah,
Gosh, we have to talk about all of this. I'm like, hold on, I'm going to write notes. So when we get back on this, I'm like, this is so good.
Yeah.
All right, keep going.
It was. So in September, my brother passed, and nobody was prepared for that.
Yeah.
And I told everybody, I met with my executive team. I said, listen, my 76-year-old mother was not ready for this. My nieces and nephew were not ready for this. Yeah. I'm not ready for this. So you guys deal with this. I'm going to go get myself together. And, for a good 4.5 months, that's what I did,
Amazing.
And we didn't miss a beat.
Yeah. Nothing burned down.
Nothing burned, and it allowed me. And sometimes, and again, I understand the Lord's will is his will. Yeah. I'm not here to question it. Yeah. I would prefer to have my brother, but what it did show me was a few things. And the main thing for me was that I don't have to have my hand on the wheel. There are plenty of other experienced drivers that I've put in place.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have this, this Donnie or Debbie do it all type of mentality. Like, if I can't do it, it can't be done. Yes, it can.
It's so true.
Yes, it can. And I was just doing some reading. And did you know Walt Disney never stepped foot in Disney World?
Wow. What a great.
Never. Wow. He died of lung cancer before it opened.
Just a visionary for it.
But he had a vision. And that's what people don't understand. Before Jeff Bezos, Roy Disney had the biggest divorce in history, because sometimes brothers are given different gifts. James, brother of Jesus, was not Jesus. Completely different guy. Right. Still very impactful, still very purposeful, but different thought process. Yeah. Sometimes you don't need to just be anything other than the visionary, and then someone else executes the vision. While Moses saw the promised land, Joshua executed the vision beyond that. Yep. Right. And so Roy was able to say, oh, okay, you want Magic Kingdom? Fine. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Disneyland is cool. But you know what? They're selling swampland in Florida for 35 cents on the dollar. We can drain that sucker. Oh, you want people to sit in teacups and act like they're driving a ride? Okay, you're good at this. You're an engineer. All right, so what we're going to do is use some centrifugal force, and we're going to do that. Oh, great. Well, we want to put a roller coaster inside a mountain. We'll figure it out. And that's what it is. You need somebody who can say, okay, this is insane.
Yeah.
This sounds like squirrel spit because it's nutty as heck. And we're going to do it. And guess what? That's not on you. Sometimes God gives you the vision. And the thing about purpose-driven leadership is you have to understand that everything does not require your energy to do it. It just requires you relaying the vision and then not reading anything. Tamra, sometimes I got to shut my brain off. And so, I'll read comic books, I watch TV, and then I find myself watching these episodes of this show. And this show showed me everything I needed to know about entrepreneurship that I had not already learned.
Yeah.
And it's called Undercover Boss.
Yeah.
If you pay attention, all of these CEOs, CMOs, CIOs, CFOs don't know how to do anything. The waste management guy does not know how to hook up a dumpster. The 1-800-Flowers guy can't cut stems of roses on angles because that's not his mission.
Right.
That there are people who are assigned perfectly to cut flowers.
Right.
To take the dumpsters and hook them up. To make the wings at Hooters. When we're called to something higher, it doesn't mean that you're better. It means that you're walking in the purpose that you've been assigned.
Right.
And that purpose is so big. Imagine if Jesus says, you know what? I am Son of God. God made flesh. And you do know I walk on water, right? What I need these people for? He needed Peter and Andrew because they were fishermen and they understood customs and they spoke different languages and they understood, what it is at different ports of call. And the other part of that, if you've ever seen Deadliest Catch?
Yeah.
I'm a big guy. I work out just about every day that ends in DAY. I'm not fighting no fishermen.
Oh no, they are scary. No, especially with that hook. Get away from me.
And what you can do with a net, no, I'm good. You gonna have me trapped up. So that's the thing. Other people serve different purposes, and sometimes it's just for example, and you have to be wise enough to let go of the things that you've moved beyond. Like when God blesses you, that blessing comes with conditions. And we don't talk about some of those conditions are you have to let I have a bike, but I have a car. They'll both get me there.
Yeah.
But one is a better use of my time and skills.
Good. So good.
So it's constant learning and evolution. And then sometimes you also have to understand that there are people who get to a certain point with you where their journey ends.
Yeah.
And you got to be okay with letting them go. There's so many things that just don't serve you anymore. Me being 561 pounds didn't serve me anymore.
Yeah.
I weigh less than the amount of weight I've lost. Which, like you could literally build an entire two people out of what I lost.
Wow.
And that's the thing. Sometimes we hold on to something because we feel it's going to protect us or serve us. And it doesn't, because what God has for us is so much, it's so rich, it's so beyond. And I've been able to kind of reflect. And Tamra, I'm going to tell you something else.
Yeah.
God is working on me because I used to get so frustrated with why people didn't see what I was seeing and why people couldn't do what I was asking. And I learned two things. Number one, everybody can't see the vision that God gave you because he gave it to you. When he made that blind man, see, he spit in that blind man's eyes. He didn't spit in people's eyes who already saw something else. And the other part is when you look at where you've been and you understand where you're going, sometimes everybody ain't gonna get it. Jesus said, my sheep will hear my voice. So if the most powerful being on the face of the planet to ever walk amongst us understood that people weren't going to listen to him, where do we get off thinking that everybody's going to get it? And it don't matter how plain you make the vision. Some people are just going, and they come to it when they come to it. And sometimes our frustration of, don't you see how good this is? Don't you see how simple what we have is? We get caught up in that because we know what's on the other side of that. But we have a different type of mind, and our flesh operates differently because we've had a lot of experience and we've been able
Right.
to control it. Other people aren't on that walk yet, or they're on a different part of that walk, and all of that is just fine.
Yeah.
So I'm learning to not yell or freak out or get frustrated or get impatient because you're not where I am, because it took me, a 25-year career in radio.
Yeah.
It took me living in 19 states. It took me living in my car for 4 months. It took me
Mhm.
washing up in a gas station sink for 4 months. It took me living with my brother in his garage for a year.
Mhm.
It took hundreds of stops and starts and business failures to get this so-called enlightenment where everybody can't listen or understand me right now.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's so good though. But that's like the journey, right? That's the journey that
Right.